So when we were putting in our details view and our grid view, we looked at using the auto format option, and there were some nifty colors, mocha and spring rain and things like that, but decided that might not be the best way to do it, that maybe we should be doing it with CSS so that we can make a change in one location and have it populate through all of our details view and all of our grid views. So in order to do that, we need to go ahead and get into the website and get it open. And we're going to go to the page that has, we'll start with grid view, so let's go to states. And we can see that the states, it's on this garish yellow black background, and it's just kind of inherited all the way through the grid view. So we want to take some time and try to clean this up a little bit. The first thing we'll start with here is the source. Get into the source code. And I want to go to my grid view and just kind of clean up the formatting a little. And all this really does is just make it a little bit easier to see what we're dealing with and where we're adding different lines for to point to CSS and things like that. So the first thing that I want to add is I want to take those grid lines off. Because I don't want the grid view to put the grid lines on, I want to do that using the box model. So if I do that, I can now see that the grids are gone. And I can come back in a little bit and add those in with the box model. The next thing is I want to just point the CSS class, and I'm just going to call the class gridview. So I need to get into my style sheet now. Okay, so I can see that I've added the CSS. It's picking it up. I need to remove this width because here in the CSS I'm telling it to have a width of 100%, but here I'm limiting the width, so let me just get rid of that. And let's see what we have now. Much better. I can put a border in the CSS. Okay, goes all the way around it. So the CSS, I'm dealing with this whole piece here. I have some other commands that I can add in for the grid view in dealing with the CSS. So the grid view just refers to that whole thing. I have table data, and table data is going to refer to this stuff down here. And I also have table header. Table header is going to refer to this. And notice how these are hyperlinks. All right. So I, in my CSS, can account for that. So in the table header, if there's a hyperlink, then make it this color. And if you're hovering over it, then do this. So this should look like regular CSS. It's just a little different naming conventions. The one thing I'm doing is I'm going to use some small images to make gradients and make it just look a little better. So I need to go ahead and add those in. So this is what I'm using, just these small little gradients. And I'll need to refresh the website. There they are. And I'm pointing to them. They're in the images folder, the CSS folder, and in the head. So now when I've made these few changes, I can come in here. And it's starting to look a lot better. So here's my table head, or TH. Here's my table data. We've got a border all the way around everything now. We've taken care of the hyperlinks and the head. Okay. The other thing I can do is I can alter, or I can set CSS for the alternate rows. So for the alternate rows, I'm going to use another of those little gradients that I have. I could easily make this just background color pink or something like that. Alt. Okay, so you can do whatever you want to do over here, but this is going to be for the alt, which is the alternate row. And to specify the alternate row, I'm just going to grab this. So now let's see what happens to the alternate rows. We can see this little gradient has been applied now, so it makes them a little different. I could just as easily have gone up here and set them to pink. So it's totally, the CSS is totally up to you what you decide to put in here. But I'm going to go back to the other, look just a little nicer. And then in our CSS, we don't have it. We don't have them here, but we can have the pager style across the bottom here, the pager row. So what that'll look like. Get into design view. It's these columns down here, these 1s and 2s, where you can go to this page or the next page. If we want to force the number of items that are displayed per page, we can set that with page size. So now it will display 5. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then we can page to the second one. So this little formatting row down here is the pager row. So I can set CSS for the pager row as well. So here, pager row, this is just deals with that whole row. The pager row is actually a table, and those little ones and twos are table data within the table. So I can specify all those all the way down. And again, you can change background colors and padding and format to figure out exactly what's being changed here. That 1 and 2 are hyperlinks, so I can set how I want the text to look for a hyperlink, and then when you hover over it. So now that I've done that, let's have a look at it. The other page wasn't saved. Let's try it again. So now the pager row has formatting. So this is doing it on a grid view. It's very, very similar to this on a details view. We'll go in and take a look at that. But all of the grid views, if you go into all of your grid views and you add these lines, the grid lines none and the different classes, now all of those are being controlled from that single CSS file, and you can make one change in the CSS file and affect all of your grid views across all of the pages. So it's a nice way to have that modularity. So let's look at a details view now. Let's get into state details and have a look at this. Again, we're going to come down here and just clean up the code. We're looking at the details view here. The ID. This height and width I'm going to get rid of, just because I might want to choose to force that with the CSS. And when I got rid of it, I took away the closing tag here, so let me go ahead and put the closing tag in. There's the fields, and close the details view. Okay, so now I'm going to come up here and open this a little. And similar to the way I had the different grid line, CSS classes and whatnot in details view, I have the same thing in grid details view. So one of the first commands I put in there was one called state details, and state details just puts a header across this. So when I go into an individual state, state details just puts a header on it. I can take that off, the header goes away. So that could be, you could name that anything you wanted to name that, state facts or whatever the case may be. When I'm looking at it, CSS class, so CSS details view, this is going to be the class that impacts all of this whole thing. Right now it's yellow and it's just inheriting the properties. Header style is going to be this, where the state details are located. Field header are going to be these things: the postal code, the state name, the state capital. So these are the field headers. Items would be these: Alabama. Okay, so all the things, that information that changes frequently. Alternating rows, so I can set up so that state name and Yellowhammer are different. Command row style, that's this, the edit and the delete. And then the pager style would be the 1, the 2, the 3, the 4 down here, but we don't have pager style enabled on this details view. So now that I have those different CSSs specified, I can come in and get the CSS. Get to the style sheet. So again, I'm doing it for the details view, impacting the whole thing. The table data, so this is all of the fields, just kind of looking at the whole thing here. The header table data, that's this. Field header are these. Alternate rows, and I'm doing something with that. And then the commands, I'm doing things down there. And then finally the pager is blank because we're not using pager. Alright, so I've put some CSS in here, and I have declared it to use it over here. So let's see what happens now when we refresh. It comes in. And again, from a single change, I can modify all of the different details view. But I have to have this bit of code in the grid view and this bit of code in every details view. And that is basically how we're going to use CSS to format details views and grid views. If I grab all of these and I go to new state, which currently does not have formatting, we're back to the way it used to look. So I'll go into new state. I will get into the details view. I'll add this in. Remember, we've got to take out the height and width. And my formatting applies to them just that easily.